So we're going to continue to talk about how your Google Drive is set up and organized and what you can do to make the best use of it and hopefully not become too frustrated with it. It does get easier the more you use it and the more you kind of see its behavior and how it works. So we've been looking right here at My Drive, right? We started looking at new and what different things you could create. And we looked at My Drive, how to kind of organize folders and files, putting those into those. Then we've got a couple other things to look at. So there are shared drives. These used to be what's called team drives. And a team drive doesn't belong to a person, but it belongs to a group of people who are, working toward a common thing. So civil rights or office staff or whatever. And if a person stops working at SAD4 or whatever, their information doesn't get pulled from the team drive. It still stays there. So this drive behaves a lot differently than the other drives actually. Pulling things in and out of it isn't necessarily easy depending on the permissioning that you have. It's a little different than the other drives. So if you find you're in shared drives because you're expected to be on a committee or you're part of a group, don't get too frustrated if things don't quite work your way. Please reach out, and I'm going to try to help you through that, or someone on your team can try to help you too. So that's the shared drives. What I do want to show you though is your shared with me. This here is very important because anytime you have a document, a file, or anything shared with you to your Google Drive, it goes into this container called Shared with Me. When this gets shared with me is not in your drive. It's not in My Drive. So these are like two separate containers and they don't touch. All right? If you want to access Shared with Me stuff from your drive, you have to add it to your drive. Okay, that's how it gets there. It's not a mystery, actually. It can seem that way, though, because it seems, this looks like my drive. It's my drive, right? It's not your drive. Okay, it says shared with me. That means it's someone else's. They shared it with you. All right? And this is so important to understand that because if you think that this is in your drive and you don't understand why it's not coming up when you do a search, it's not coming up because it's not in your drive. All right? Shared with me is its own container. And so if you need to search something in shared with me, you've got to come to shared with me. All right? And I suggest that anything you think you might need that someone shares with you, add it to your drive. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's just take a look at this. I don't know, just use this as an example, this Steam conference thing. So I'm just going to click on it. I'm going to hold the control key down and I'm going to click to bring up this great menu. Okay? So I can share it, right? I can get a shareable link to it. I can add a shortcut to drive. Now look, shortcuts link to the original, allowing an item to appear in more than one location. All right, so that may be the way to go. That means, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to add a shortcut to the drive. That means now, look, go to My Drive. I'm going to click over here. And I could add it with my other folders, or I could say, no, I think that needs to be in my organization folder that I made, right? Remember that just a little bit ago? And I'm going to click over to here. I'm going to drop it right in that organization folder because I think that's where it should go. All right. So then what we're going to do is we will take a look in your shared with me, and then what I want to show you next is this. Okay, so we added a shortcut to the drive. It's still here though. It's still here and shared with me. I can change that though. Look, I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it out of shared with me and I'm going to move it into My Drive. Okay, you can pick a folder to move it to, or you can just move it to the regular folders. Look, just move here. Okay, look, it's been added to My Drive. Now let's see if it's still in shared with me too. CIE Steam conference. It might still be here. Yeah, okay. So it's still in shared with me because it belonged to somebody else, which was actually my other account. All right, but look what will happen now. If you go into my drive, you're going to find it right here because I just shared it. All right, so now it belongs in my drive too. All right, so that's very good. All right, and then let's see what other choices we have. All right, so moved it to my drive and it still appears here. So, you know, if you want to add a shortcut to it, it seems to be kind of the same thing. Moving it, I don't know, either is 6 to 1, half dozen the other. I guess play with it and see what works best for you. Okay, you can rename it. Maybe I should have named it something that I'm more familiar with. Okay, it may be easy to find. View details, download. You can download folders and things, those sorts of things. So, but what I'm telling you is, in shared with me, you want to, make sure that if you want to make sure something is in your drive, you've got to add it. Okay, and that is very important. So basically control, click, and then you get these shortcuts. You add the shortcut to your drive, or you simply move it to your drive, and then kind of see how it behaves. All right, so that is just an introduction to the shared with me.